Alright, I'm going to show you how to loom knit the head of a peached face lovebird. This also will work for the other color variations on the lovebird. And the reason why I didn't film the body is pretty much the same as the hummingbird and the kingfisher. The only difference is there's a small tail, and all you're going to do is skip to chain cast on 9, and then you're going to knit for 10 rows, and then you're going to leave it, and you're going to do a lot like the bluebird. Just look at the written pattern, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can just go to the kingfisher, follow the body, because what I did was do half blue and half green, and then I did pink feet, and then once I get past the feet, then I switched up to green, and then when I started doing my second or third short row, I switched up to pink on the front and green on the back. Okay, so just work it from the written pattern. This is just kind of a guide on how to do the beak and that kind of thing, because the beak can be a challenge on the parrot style kind of thing. So on the head, what we want to do is I wanted to do 5 rows of slip 1, knit 11. So slip 1, knit 11, 5 rows. So here's, although I don't think we've done the 12. Okay. Well, it's alright, you knit 12. Sorry. Trying to keep up with my notes here. You knit 12. Then you slip 1, knit 11, 5 rows. Okay. So you slip 1, knit 11 for 5 rows. Alright, so this will be row 1. And I'll have you pause the video and get your 5 rows done. This is actually really an easy pattern. Not much to it. Okay, so slip 1, knit 11, 5 rows. So slip 1, knit 11 for 5 rows, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next section. Okay, so I wanted to explain something on this bird and why we're doing the head the way we are, because yes, that is obviously red. I'm going to choose to use the acrylic paint pen to color in the red, because as you can see, there's a gradient between that stark red and into pink. And you can use red when you get to that half and then switch over to pink, but I thought it was going to be easier to just go ahead and have it in pink and then grade and use a acrylic paint pen to go from the red to gradient into the peachish pink through here. Okay, so this is a personal choice. You can choose to do the upper half of the head in a red color and then switch over to the pink once you go to do the beak, and then go from pink from there. But I don't like changing colors that much either if I can help it, and this makes it a little easier. There's a lot more gradients going on, and so I'm going to be going in with a paint pen and doing gradients. Okay, so I'm letting you know, yes, I know that it does have a red top. No, I'm not doing the red top. I'm going to paint pen it in. But if you choose to, I will let you know when would be a good time to change from the red to the pink, and then you can gradient less. Okay. At this point, we're going to be doing a wrap and turn section. Give me just a second. Okay, we're going to do one wrap and turn section in green, and the second one will be in the red. Okay, so keep in mind, we're doing this section again, but I'll tell you to do it in red. Alright, now, what we're going to do is a wrap and turn. We're going to slip 1, knit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, wrap and turn. And we're going to work this down. It's like 2, 4 wraps and turns. So knit 8, wrap and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, wrap and turn. Knit 7, wrap and turn, knit 6, wrap and turn, knit 5, wrap and turn, knit 4, wrap and turn, knit 4. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to just kind of show this all the way through. This bird works about the same as all the rest of them when it comes to the structure that I do. The head a lot of times, it's when you got to the long-necked the birds that it changed up the way that I did them. So, and then you're going to wrap and turn, knit 4, wrap and turn, and knit 4, knit 2 together 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and knit 1. Then you're going to come over here and you're going to do that again. 1, so you're going to knit over 7 and knit 3 together. Knit 2 together 3 times, sorry, and then knit 1. Okay. And knit. Alright, we've created our first div. Now, this is where I would, and then you're going to do 2 rows of slip 1, knit 11. Okay. And this is where you're going to repeat these rows again. So you're going to repeat the wrap and turn, and then adding the back end wrap and turns in the 2 rows. But you're just going to do it in red if you want to do that, or you can do it in the pink and do the acrylic paint pen thing that I'm planning on doing. So it's entirely up to you if you want to do that method. Alright. So, and at this point, I'm going to repeat the last 3 rows that I just did. Alright, so I'm going to change up colors. I'm going to repeat the last 3 rows I just did in pink. Now, if you don't want to do it in that color, you can do it in red. Alright, and then just paint. And then you don't have much gradients to do. But your beak will be in pink. So you're just going to be changing color a heck of a lot more than you may want. Okay. So I'm going to do the magic knot in the way that I do it so that it doesn't show up as much. So okay. Now I'm going to repeat what I just did. The wrap and turn down to 4, and then knit 2 together 3 times, knit 1, knit 7, knit 3 together, knit 2 together 3 times, knit 1, and then slip 1, knit 11, 2 rows. Okay, so I'm gonna, knit over my 9 and then wrap and turn. So go ahead and pause the video and complete this much, and then we will come back and do the next section. Okay. Okay, next we're going to be doing the beak row. Okay, and we're going to start off the same, but instead of wrapping down to 4, we're only going to wrap down to 6. So slip 1, knit 9. Because their beak is much smaller than the cockatoo and the macaw, we want to really represent that it is smaller. And this pattern basically should help you understand how to do, say, the cockatiel. If you're wanting to do it, you can use this beak for the cockatiel, and it'll work just fine too. So this head will work for if you're wanting to do the cockatiel. Just follow my basic design methods when I'm teaching that, and you'll find that you can achieve what you want out of that, because I was not able to find time to do the cockatiel for the book. So I'm trying to get you the most basics of shapes so that you can do that. Alright, so we've wrapped and turned, and we're going to knit 6. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, okay. So we've knit the 6, and what we're going to do is slip 1, knit 5 for 4 rows. So slip 1, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, actually no, yeah, knit 5. So there's 1, slip 1, knit 5, so 1, 2, 3, 5, that's row 2, slip 1, knit 5 for 3, and this is row 4. Okay, then what you're going to do is slip 1, knit 4, wrap and turn. So we're creating a curvature. And then you're going to slip, you're going to knit 4 and wrap and turn. So you knit, slip 1, knit 4, wrap and turn, and then you're going to knit 4, wrap and turn. Okay. And then you're going to knit 2, wrap and turn. Okay. And then you're going to knit 2 for 7 rows. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, what you've done is you're creating a point on that beak. All right. So at this point, what you want to do now is knit 2 and knit 2 together 2 times. And then you're going to slip 1 and knit 3, and then knit 2 together 2 times. And then you're going to slip 1, knit 5 for 2 rows, and then you're going to bring original loops back. Okay, so there's your 2 rows, and then you're going to bring original loops back, and what that means is you're just going to follow this line, and you pull it closest to the stitch that's sitting there. So it's not exact, you're just wanting to close in that gap. Okay, so the beak is not that much. Their beak isn't very big, but it does have that curvature with the point to it. Alright, so now what we want to do is start from where we left off. We want to knit 2 together, knit 4, and knit 2 together. This completes your beak. Next you're going to knit 2 together 2 times, knit 1. Then you're going to slip 1 and knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, knit 2 together 2 times, and then knit. Okay. At this point, what you want to do is you want to slip 1, knit 11 for 2 rows, and then we should be able to finish up. Okay, so slip 1, knit 11, 2 rows, and I think that should cover what I'm wanting to do. Okay. Here's 1, there's 2. Actually, we'll do 3 rows. Because we're fixing to finish up the head. Okay, so one more time, 3 rows. Alright, now it's that section where I normally say, what is the terminology I use all the time? Gather chains. So you gather your chains up, and what I mean by that is you have, let me see if I can get it in the shot. You have, see if I can get it to focus. You have all these chains here, and you want to just pick up like half of it and put it on the peg. Okay. And you're going to start from the closest and work away. So you grab that one and put it on. And you just want half of it. And just put it on all the way down. And what this does, this is important, you really can't get much past this. And the reason why is it gathers up the head in such a way. Okay. And I think I've gotten as close as I'm getting. Okay. And then at this point, you're just going to wrap the peg and toss all those loops you just pulled over. Okay. You can do that with a crochet hook. I just find this is personally easier. You'll find your preference, but the technique works about the same on most of the birds. So you're not going to get past it. You'll need to pull those chains up. Okay. And I want to tighten that. Okay. Then you're going to, what I usually use on the terminology is gather up your chains, and then I'll say knit 9 together or whatever. You just knit them all together, okay? Even if your count's a little different than mine, just knit them all together. And then what you're going to do is you're going to knit your way over. And just before finishing the row, you're going to go ahead and gather the other side. Okay. So just before there. Then you're going to gather the other side. And sometimes it's easier to spread those chains out so that you can see what you're messing with. And just put them on there. Yes, it really packs the peg. Voila. And that's the reason why if you don't feel comfortable with it, you can try doing the crochet hook method where you send it through all the chains with a crochet hook, but you'll need a pretty small one if you're working with this gauge. So, I mean, there's ways of doing it, but you still have to do it. Alright. And I've been E-wrapping it. Just kind of give me a secure wrap while I'm trying to toss it all over. Okay. And you just toss it all over. And you can do this with a crochet hook where you send the working yarn through. Okay. Alright. There it is. Now, what you want to do is get you a tail, cut it, and weave in, bind off. Alright. So, you go over here to the other side, and you just toss over, pull through. Toss over, pull through. And you're going to do this all the way across, back and forth. It's kind of like a reverse Kitchener, but it's not going to look like a Kitchener. It's like a drawstring, but it's a drawstring straight rather than in a circle. And that's the difference. So, back and forth. Alright. So, pause the video and get that done all the way to over here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I usually try pulling from the middle on the weave in, because sometimes when you just pull it, it causes problems. So. And you can see your little beak here. There's half your head. Okay, so you can kind of see how this is working. At this point, what you want to do is go ahead and stuff it. Alright, and then you can start trying to work it up. I will try and show you what I mean by the acrylic paint pen. Now, after you did the beak, everything would have been needing to be in the, you want to try to stuff the beak some. everything would have been in the pink. Okay. Now you'll notice my cast on is different. It's a Kitchener. But when you do that kind of a cast on, what you have to keep in mind is you can't go ahead and tighten it, or there's no way you're going to be able to stuff your bird. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stuff. Now, there, if you want to try to stuff the beak a little bit more, you take your hook and try shoving it in there some more. I try to do a nice balance of not overstuffing, because when you do, the things stretch more and all that kind of business. I don't like stretched stitches too much. So it's an art form. I always say that it is, because it is. It's an art form to get it. Okay. And then I'm going to continue to stuff here. And then what you'll do is sew up the bottom. And with me, I'm going to do my Kitchener tightening. But yeah, the reason why I chose not to show that as a standard is it is harder. And you might want, if you're used to making the socks, you're used to going ahead and want to tighten that when you're like here, and you don't want that because it will close up your bird, and then there's no way to stuff it. But if you feel like you can handle doing a Kitchener on the back end, it does make for a much neater bottom than what I have written, but I was trying to keep it more simplistic. This is more complicated. It comes to a point where, you know, you got it halfway closed up and you may need to stuff a little bit more once you see what you've got. There is more finesse to it than just sewing it up. Okay. But if you are comfortable with the Kitchener and you're thinking, oh yeah, I can do that, just remember, don't close it up until you're actually ready to, after getting the head stuffed and that kind of thing. Okay. We will have some closing up to do, a little on the head. It's not much. And I'm going to show that, and I'm going to try to show what I mean by the acrylic paint pen as well. So I'm going to finish closing this up, and then I'm going to show you what to do next on your head. So, because that's mostly what this video is about, is showing you how to do the head of the Lovebird, which is basically a parrot head. So, a smaller breed of parrot head. And what that means is, it means that you can use the head pattern to do the cockatiel and that kind of thing. But the cockatiel is got a different kind of body. Its body is more like the macaw body, but its beak is smaller, like this one. Its coloration is different. This is where that design stuff comes in. Okay. Now, as you can see, looks pretty cute. And I'm going to be adding my wings, which will give it that kind of fluffiness. But now, what we want to do now is try and work up our head and where it looks like it's supposed to. Now, before I do this, what we want to do is we want to get our needle and we want to take our tail and we want to close up this area here. Sometimes it needs it, sometimes it doesn't. But if it does need it, it's not a big deal. You close it up. Okay. Alright, now, then you're going to send it through and make sure the other side's closed up. I do apologize. I'm getting over the bug that's going around. Okay, now, there is a definitive separation between the beak and the, because it doesn't look like that side needs it, so the other side's fine. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create an indention. That's just how you do it. So you're going to send it up through here, through this section here, and you're going to pull it down through here, and you're going to pull it, okay, and that's going to create that indention, and you're going to need to go back up again and do it more across, okay. And this is typical of any of the parrots, okay. And you do it about 3 times, and it creates that indention that you're after. Now, pull it back down through it. Okay. I've created my indention. Now, this hook, if you want a shorter hook, you can do 5 rows instead of 7. You can shorten that. Now, it looks like we need a little bit of close up here on the side of the beak. Not a problem. Send it up. You do this closing up on these little bits and pieces sometimes. The other side looks good. Okay, so there is that. Now, that gives you the indention, and now if you want to get your indention into the eye area, where I call it cinching the eye area, I have that set up to be able to start doing that. So that's send it through, and I do it a couple of times. I don't do it just once. Really get it cinched in. Okay. And the other thing you may want to do is, because they're all cozied up a lot of times, you may want to kind of go in and sew that hook down a little bit more. Okay, it's entirely up to you how you want to do this. There's a lot of shaping involved. Okay, and I'm not going to say there isn't, but there is. There's a lot of shaping involved. Now, it's up to you if you want to go in and kind of tack that down, that point down. You can. If you don't want so much point, you can do just say 5 rows, okay? But if you want to tack it down, you simply send it through there. But it will create that extra look you're after, okay? As you can see, it'll create it. And you may want that, okay? Alright, so you can do this method, and that brings it back, alright? It's an option if you want to do it that way, okay? If you don't, you don't have to. Play with it. Get it to where you want it. Okay, I'm going to go get my paint pens, and I'm going to show you how to go about creating the coloration that's needed. Okay, so I'm going to go get my paint pens. I always think it's good to get your example of your colorations in front of you, and I am working with a particular brand. See if I can get it to... There. ARRTX acrylic marker. And you want one with a dual tip, and you want it with a brush pen. I find that this has done wonders. So as you can see, it kind of goes above and below, and the beak is pink. Okay. Again, you could have done this in red if you had wanted to, but I like the blend out. Okay. So I'm just going to color in. As again, you can do it in red, but make sure that you do the pink for the beak. And you just color it in like that. Okay. And their red goes a little bit past that halfway mark. And as you can see, you can color it past that. So that when you go in to add the eye area. Okay. And you don't have to go hard on the paint pen, but you will need to allow it some time to dry. You can't expect it to dry instantly. It is paint. Okay. So I'm going to go a little bit past where the eyes will be. And I'll notice there's a little bit more of a whitish section here. I'm going to leave that. And I'm going to continue to go hard red around the beak. And this is where some artistry is in there, and this is where you're going to be blending out. Okay. So I'm going to leave that section right there. Be working where the beak is. And then what you want to do is it blends into like a yellowish color, and you can go in and pick up a yellowish or orangish color. It'll probably turn into an orange color. So you just go in and blend that a little bit, and it'll give it more of a pinkish color. Okay. Peachy orangish color, which is what you're kind of after. Okay. And you can kind of blend that out. So I chose the pink color because it's in there. But as you can see, it's starting to look more like you want. Okay. And it blends out to yellow. Alright. So, as you can see, we've gotten that. And the other thing I like to do is blend in the body a little bit. And I think that's going to be better done with a green. And it's a basic kit you can get. It's not much to it, but it blends in those lines so it's not so stark. I like that about the acrylic paint pens. And if you've liked some of the work that I've done, it's worth the effort. See. So you can see that I've done that, and what'll make it look puffier, like the look here. These are my examples for drawing them out. But if you like that puffiness, what you'll do is you'll do the 15 peg wing, and you have the option. You can do all green, which I'm going to, or you can do like maybe 10 of the pegs, or even 8 or 7 of the pegs in the blue and switch to the green. But I'm just going to do green entirely. Each bird varies, it does. So yeah, what you want to do is let that dry, and then as you can see they have black eyes. And I've gotten one of these kits. I got it off of Amazon. I'll try and remember to put the link below. And what you may want to do is find what size is going to work best. I think their eyes are a little bigger, but we can try. See what that size does. I mean, I think I like that size. It's got that friendlier look, but when they need to go down one, I think I may go larger just to get that friendlier look, but either this size or that size. My largest size looks like it's a good choice just to get that kind of friendly look. Yeah, I think I may go with the bigger size for the eyes. So there you have it. That's how you make a lovebird head. Keep in mind you can do the same thing for a cockatiel head. Adjust for color. Maybe instead of when you start the short row, have it in the white. I did have imaging saved up in here on my Pinterest. Here. So if you wanted to do that, you can do the alternating black, white, or the alternating colors, and it creates that. But it has a similar beak. You can go smaller with the beak. It's up to you, but this is a good basis for a pet parrot. There's a lot of pet parrots that are in this general shape. You keep in mind with your color. I usually like to make notes on what you're working on. When you're working on your tail, or when you're working on your feet, you know that space there, and you look at the image and think, okay, do I like that length, and what tail do I like, that kind of thing. So it's really a personal decision what you want to do. But if you're getting the bird book, I would suggest getting the ARRTX paint pens. I think they've done wonderful for many of the birds in the bird book, and adjusting them and making them look more realistic without having to go in and change the color physically so often. Okay, and that was the goal, was not to have to change constantly colors. So if you wanted to do the red there, you could, see. And I just didn't want to do all the changing the colors, and I thought I can definitely do a gradients better with a paint pen, and it's softer and not so stark. So it's entirely up to you how you want to do it, but there's kind of a basic parrot head for you to work with. And otherwise, that's how you make a lovebird head.